for her knee or back or whatever it was, and
it's time for us to sit down at the table and turn this chaos into something stable. For love, one on one, we will not accept defeat, not on our land, not in our streets. Getting it done, reaching out to save the youth, letting them know the truth. Slim Nation is where good conversations dwell, positive affirmations well, make a strong nation as we spread the love. Slim Nation is where good conversation.
Well, good evening and welcome to this special edition of the Slim Nation One-on-Ones podcast. I'm Slim Overton and I'm here. And if you saw the title of this special broadcast, you see it was titled Tommy, Johnny, and Anthony. And it's the reason for that. You might not know who these guys are, but Tommy is the Colonel from the Portsmouth Coffee Talk. And Johnny is John Gantz from everywhere from Instagram to TikTok to, even a show down here that's broadcast locally. And Anthony, that's me, Slim. So, and the reason I named those, we're all cousins and we grew up using those names. So you got Tommy, Johnny, and Anthony here. And we're going to talk about some current events. And the reason I wanted to have this special edition because things are happening so fast. So we wanted to have a conversation about what's happened recently. So either one of you guys can start if you like to. We want to talk about, I guess I did see on a feed where someone was talking about, the Trump not wanting to debate Vice President Harris, and they were saying, I don't see what y'all are worried about. She can't even pick a vice president. It's just crazy because she's already I'm saying she's already picked as the presumptive president nominee. And they were saying that they can't even decide who they want to be president. And it's only just for formality, as far as when the convention comes up. But for all sakes and purposes, she is the nominee. So, and Trump is using this excuse about, I want to wait until she's officially chosen as the nominee before I agree to any debates. So I'll start there. This is the craziness that we're getting from his followers. And I just want you all to start off and wherever you want to, because a lot has gone on in the last couple of weeks. We see some momentum on the Democratic side, which I hope continues. It's going to have to continue. Money has to be continuously raised in order to have a decent campaign. But it's perplexing that we still have all these Trump supporters out there with him in the news just about every day, making a fool out of himself. So what do you guys think? I kind of know what you think, but share it with us.
Let me start off this and then get this off my chest right quick. So yes, you stated one fact that is very correct, that the three of us are cousins, but one of us lives behind Confederate lines. And what I call Confederate lines is, if you live in behind Confederate lines, consider yourself behind the lines if you live in a GOP state. It means you have less freedoms than anybody else in this country. Your women in that, or girls in that state, are owned by the governor and legislature there. They are not yours. And we're only on November 5th, if the election goes to the new king, that means the former president, and they get anything, if they get the House and the Senate, then you can kiss your brides, your daughters, your grandkids, your granddaughters, kiss them goodbye, because they will be lined up and they'll already be, and they'll get their cards where they'll have to report to the doctor so they can track their menstrual periods, so to make sure that they don't get any birth control, because they don't want any more birth control. The GOP don't want any more. And so if they are have some unfortunate pregnancy and they have an ectopic pregnancy or a stillbirth like that, they have to carry it to term, get septic, or die at the local hospital, because you won't be able to help them if you are behind Confederate lines. And speaking of that, and they want to bring that same lunacy to all America. So I just had to get that off my chest. And I haven't stated which one of the, so I'm not behind, because I'm very vocal. So I am not behind Confederate lines, because if Mr. Trump wins, all America will be like behind Confederate lines, because he will have the total control of the executive branch. And so shows like this, before we got off of it, even though it's an hour, by an hour and a half, I expect the U.S. Marshals will be out in front of my house, and we'd have a shootout. And that's how freedom of the press will be gone forever. So I'll let the other two cousins, if they are free to say anything, because one of the cousins is represented by his governor being in a wheelchair, waiting to throw a clot and croak, but he's his main claim to fame, he's putting barbed wires out in whatever that river is between Mexico and Texas, and you have no energy, and you have running blackouts and storms and everything else. But he does nothing other than saying, well, we have to guard against the others that are invading our country. As I let me get
cousin Johnny looks like cousin Tommy got more on his chest than has. So what do you say?
Well, you got Portsmouth coffee top on top of your hat, so I guess
no, this is
don't leave anybody but me.
This is bitch proud. This is bitch proud.
That is so true, Thomas and Slim. We're behind enemy lines. Texas talks about succession from the Union every day. You see something about we're going to succeed, and I always wonder where we're going to go, because cars still going to drive through here, planes still going to fly over here. So how do you succeed? And it's also in the Constitution that it's illegal to succeed, but these people only read the Constitution up to one of the first word or the first two paragraphs, or first word in the paragraph. And the issue about the women's rights, what Trump doesn't understand is that it won't just be the red states that have that. He's going to try to impose that across the United States, and he's got people that are Republicans sitting in those states. So you're screwing your own people, and somebody needs to whisper in his ear and say, no, we shouldn't do that, because those are our people too. Red people live in blue states. I mean, that's just a fact.
He don't care.
Yeah, I know. It's as we were talking before, it's sad to see that this many people will fall for this man, and it's a cult. I mean, it's just a straight cult. That they follow somebody. I can't believe everybody that follows him is ignorant or dumb, and I don't want to call them stupid or whatever else, or whatever word they want to use. But these are doctors, lawyers, and Indian chiefs, and they're following him. And that is what is surprising to me, because we saw this man for 4 years. He did nothing, and we've lived with him for another 4 years, and he's still done nothing but talk about how great he thinks he is. I don't even know where to start with that.
Yeah,
The man is an idiot. He's a blubbering fool.
let me start with this, and to your point, Tommy. Johnny. Uh, you mentioned about all the people that are following him, yeah, and I think before this Biden backed out, we had a show and we talked about how, you know, it would be unwise to switch horses right now at that thing. So we were kind of, although we were concerned about Biden, we were kind of saying that, we got to stick with him, to change horses. But, he did fall down and step back. I think one of the reasons we were concerned because the people that were bringing up that he should step down, some of them were kind of overlooking the vice president who was sitting there, which by all rights was next in line, whatever he did. And we were concerned about that too. How can you step over her? But when it happened, do you think we really have the momentum now? Because you got these people that, this certain segment of Trumpsters that are not going to change their mind. They're going to vote for him regardless, regardless. They'll follow him and jump off a bridge, right behind him. Do you think we have enough momentum and enough time? It feels like we do, but do you really think we have enough momentum and time to I don't think the big issue is the popular vote as more we're concerned about, that other vote that really counts. And that's why it's so important. The issue is so important around these battleground states.
Well, Nate Silver, who runs a poll called the 538, and I think they've only been wrong one time in the last 8 or 9 cycles.
Mm-hmm.
Came on last night, and I watched his broadcast, and he's got Kamala up by 1.5 nationwide, and winning in many of the states and tied in some of the battleground states. And that's a hopeful idea. That's a hopeful thought that it shows the lines going like one line going up and one line going down, and Trump is definitely going down. I think people are pulling away. More people are learning that this man, the Republicans don't want him. A lot of Republicans are now saying out loud. They said it on Sunday News this morning.
Yeah.
We have to be aware of what we're getting, and I think knowing that you've got a younger woman, and you've got a progressive thought, and you've got to fight against the idea of tyranny, where the court, we don't have the court to save us. We don't have the legal structure to save us. They're going to try to give immunity to a man who's a felon. What does that say to the world when they see us elect a man who is convicted, just waiting to be sentenced on the 15th of next month for 34 crimes? And it doesn't matter what the crime is. You're a felon. You're telling me in a country of 300 million people, that's the best the Republicans can do? And I think they know. There's a group of them know they made a big mistake. So I think we have a chance. Yes.
So let me give y'all a math thing here, and we're talking about his followers. So like I said before, we were talking, America is a 50-50 country, and we'll address the 50% of folks that are on the right, meaning the ex-GOP. So he has excommunicated and destroyed and gotten rid of all of the moderate or free-thinking Republicans in the Republican Party. He has beaten them down so much that they are afraid to say a word. Even before, even during his impeachments, he had senators and representatives that knew he was guilty, that voted to let him go because they were afraid for their families and their own selves. And they let him go. Those people don't deserve. There's not one of them that's in the office now that deserves to even be there now. So the other piece is a high percentage of that 50% of the GOP population are basically racist, because anybody that comes out with a discussion and they say we are anti DEI, or we talk about CRT, or any of that other hotbed mess that they want to talk about, you know what? We need to tell them, like Kamala says, Vice President Harris says, enough with enough. We've heard this before. We know that you are a racist. And so I say, when those people that say that, they are racist. So, but I had a news flash, and this is another side piece that I saw on the internet, that Buckwheat got married this weekend. And
Tim Scott.
You talking about the South Carolina guy?
Yeah, Buckwheat. And I saw across their thing, and they had four people of color in the chapel there, and they were all relatives.
Hey, you talking about Tim Scott?
Yes, Tim Scott. Buckwheat.
Yeah.
So
I just wanted to
got married, and he had four people in there that were his family with the rest of them. So he's going to self-identify as white now. But when they threw the bouquet up, when his wife threw the bouquet up, guess who caught it?
Who?
Lindsay. And he slipped on his own dress and started busting out crying because, I guess, that relationship has been broken. So he has to, he can't be in the closet. He's just like him and Buckwheat been together for so long that he just can't, the girl is taking a lot of his time. So I guess I don't know what Lindsay's going to be able to do now. So so folks out there, Lindsay's free now. He's eligible now. He's an eligible bachelorette.
Every time I see Tim Scott, it makes me think of the guy on Fat Albert talking about, I'm a boomer, gonna get him. I'm a boomer.
Yeah. They've used that meme. They've used that meme and put his face in there.
I forget who he is, but I mean, it is sad to see.
I'll be back about.
It is sad to see a black man. I don't have a problem if you're a Republican. I don't have a problem with you being a black Republican. But Thomas, like you said, a lot of the Republicans retired. You remember about a year and a half ago, about 30 of them got out of the house real fast. They said, it's time to go. I'm going to retire for the betterment of my family and spend more time at home. That's always the statement they use. And so the MAGA branch took it over. So as I was saying to Slim earlier, I told Anthony, I saw a sign where it says, I'm a Republican, but I'm going to vote for Kamala. And I said, okay, that I can go with that. But if I see a sign that says I'm voting for Trump, then it doesn't matter to me that you tell me that you're not racist and you've got friends that are black or whatever. You're racist, or you're allowing it to happen by your absence of speaking up about it. And if you're going to put that sign in your yard, then you and I have an issue talking. I have an issue. Because you know what it's about. And what you're willing to be about.
And the funny thing about it, they don't even have an answer. Well, at least Trump doesn't have an answer, because even if his handlers try to tell him what to say, he's not going to stick to the script, because he doesn't have an answer for how to deal. Because he's still talking about Biden. and he was ready to debate him again. But it shouldn't matter. I was prepared for Biden. It shouldn't matter whoever is his opponent. That's who you're prepared for.
Yeah.
And he's using all kind of excuses because he knows he will wipe him up. He was at the black journalist thing, and a lot of people say they shouldn't have invited him. But it gave him a chance, to gave people a chance who weren't convinced and probably still not convinced to see how racist he is.
Yeah.
Most of us know, but he really and I got to applaud the journalist. And I call her a journalist, not the one from Fox. Can't call her that.
Yeah.
But the journalist that jumped right on him with the tough questions and didn't give him a chance. So that gave him a chance to get, for that racism to boil over and come out, early on. And it was downhill for him right after that. Everybody else wanted to throw them softball questions, and she was just hitting them. And like a true journalist, you don't let them get by.
Right.
You don't let him get by. You keep coming at him. He gonna turn the question around and say, "What's your definition of DEI?" Because he didn't know.
Yeah. So but saying that, they should have said, "Oh, you don't know, Mr. Trump," and not Mr. President. Mr. Trump, you don't know. And then the other thing is a secondary question. Whatever he talks about all these other lies and says when he goes off on this tangent and before he answers a non-question or a question with a non-answer, he said, I would just say, enough. No, if you're not going to answer the question, just shut up. Just shut up. Here's the next one. And then go on like that. Just tell them to shut up.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear the crap that you're out because we're both American citizens. You might have more rights than I have because you are an ex-president and you have got white privilege. And if I'm talking to him, I would use the same words. But
we still got to answer the same way.
Yeah. Here on stage, I'm asking the question. If you can't answer it, say you don't know an answer, which I know you don't. And we're going to talk policy. And I don't want none of this superficial crap here.
Yeah.
And what they should have done, and they talked about streaming. That organization failed the American people when they streamed the fact checking, live fact checking off to something that nobody can ever, nobody can see.
Because he didn't want it live. He didn't want it live.
Just do it.
Just do it anyway. I mean, that was their organization event.
Yeah.
You set the parameters, and if he doesn't like it, he doesn't show up.
Yeah, and that's why he left a half hour early.
You have to fact check him in real time. As soon as he starts opening his mouth, and you could see the hatred and the racism in him. I mean, when he grabbed a woman's water bottle and tightened it, for what purpose? If
what was that all?
Explain to me,
that was almost like that move he made on Hillary, walking behind her.
Yeah.
That was an intimidation move there, which didn't intimidate her at all.
She had her back turned. She was turned this way, and he was tightening her water bottle up. He reached over there and got her water bottle and tightened it up and put it back down before she could turn back around. And that's just the instilled hate. That's inbred. He could not do that. That's part of the hatred that was just inside of him.
Yeah, he was talking to her. He was showing to his base, And what was funny when she asked him about would he pardon the January 6 people, he said, "Well, if they weren't charged or something," she said, "But they've been convicted." No, he said if they were innocent, and she said, "But they've been convicted."
And so has he. 34 times.
Yeah, but it also shows you what's going to happen if he comes back to the office, because he made a false equivalency from the protests when the Prime Minister of Israel was in town, and they had all the Palestinian protests out there, and they spray painted a few monuments or whatever, and protested that. He's already said that he's going to bring out the military and the National Guard for any kind of protest like that, especially if it's protests of people of color. and they will be allowed. Those people will be allowed to shoot to kill.
Yeah.
So there will be no freedom of the press anymore. No freedom of, except if you're for him in one of his rallies, freedom of assembly. The Constitution will be ripped up. I guess the first trip he'll go to is go to Constitutional Hall in Philadelphia and burn that piece of paper, because will be no more Constitution. And J.D. Vance will have to resign, and he'll put one of his brothers, actually one of his sons, will be the new vice president, or the prince will be there, because you might as well say there's not going to be another president or vice president. It will be the king. The Trump family will be warlords over this country for eternity.
Yeah, the Battle of the Throne, the Game of Thrones. He would definitely do that, and he definitely thinks that way. I mean, by thanking Putin, by talking about Venezuela and Maduro, by having the Hungarian president down in Mar-a-Lago, every dictator that he knows he's dealt with and become a close associate of. But anybody in the free world, he talks about them like a dog.
Yeah.
So that makes me wonder what does he think? What do the Republican people think is going to happen to them? Because they're not going to have any better rights than you and I have. Once this place becomes a place that's no longer democratic, the Supreme Court doesn't matter. They gave that man complete immunity.
Yeah,
I mean, they gave the position a whole bunch of immunity, but we don't need a Supreme Court if I have a king. You know, go ask the Kismet in Israel. Netanyahu is getting ready to get rid of them.
Yeah.
You know, ask the Germans what happened to their court when Hitler became. He had the night of the long knives, where he killed off all his 1,000 people. I mean, it's not history. History's right there to read and see. They know it. Why are you allowing it to happen again, or having the possibility over one man? And the most disingenuous, worst man you could possibly pick. I can't think of nobody I could pick worse than this man to be your leader.
And then on top of that, he picks a vice president that's just as equally problematic. And you know, and you remember he said that only Putin will let him release any hostages. Now, nowhere in the world he could have done that kind of negotiation with all those different countries, because most of those countries despise him. And it took that kind of negotiation with those countries in order to make that deal work. You know, and no way he has that kind of diplomacy to do that. You know, and I hope, you know, as we talk about, you know, some of the people that support him, they can't get to. That's why I wanted to do this show tonight, and I hope people continue to do things like this and keep the subject out there, keep talking about it, so we can get those guys off the couch that might be sitting on the couch this year, and maybe turn some heads around of those people that are blindly following him. You know, if they just heard the facts enough, just like his lies, they heard enough. We got to throw the facts out over and over and over again. And we don't have to look for it, because it comes out his mouth every day. I mean, you know, why you shouldn't support this guy. You know, just listen to him. His rallies are nothing, no policies talked about, you know, shocks and whatever he wants to bring up. And the people sit there, and it's obvious those people sitting behind him, you know, like Colonel always says, Tommy always says, are getting paid. You know, you can just see it now, you know. They're cheering for stuff that, you know, normally people wouldn't cheer for. So hopefully that's why I said the momentum has to keep, you know, even if it's just a conversation, the groundwork, which we always agree that that's important to any campaign. But the conversation has to stay out there front and just expose, you know, along with the way he exposes himself. But we have to just keep on talking about it. And anybody we run into, like Colonel, you say, you might run into somebody at the store and have a conversation with them.
Right.
You know, even if it's just that one person. You know, if you turn that one person around, that's one vote,
And they
That's it.
turn one person around.
and they turn one person around. Or
Yeah.
just convince them to vote, because a lot of these people probably see it for themselves. But you got to get out there and exercise your vote if you think he's so crazy.
and and he went when he went going back to the National Association of Black Journalists. Once he got in front of a black audience, a really black audience, you see what happens. He can't
Yeah.
deal with that. He doesn't
He
know how
can't
to deal
even
with that. Now, when
he
you
can't
go to
even
a
cover
black
that up.
church and put 200 of your white followers in front of the church, then he's comfortable with that. And
Yeah.
the issue about the debate, um, he wasn't comfortable at ABC because he'll get asked questions. So he wants you to go to his white audience that supports him, and he's going to make it look like you were afraid to come. But if I was Kamala, I would go ahead and go
I
to
would go.
ABC.
She still would eat them up. They would have to cut her out. They would have to cut her segments out because she would
Yeah.
still eat them up.
And
No,
they would,
she won't be
and he
allowed.
would call it. Go ahead.
She wouldn't be allowed to speak because he would just go on and on and on a
And
tangent
they would let them.
all the
Yeah.
time. And if she spoke, then they would allow her that pep rally that he has. And
Right.
they're not rallies; they're basically pep rallies.
Right.
And he doesn't give a speech. He's just a carnival act.
Well, maybe people need to see that too. Maybe they need to see that in
But
action as well.
they would code that against her because she would not be able to say the things that she needs to say to compound it because the lies would come too fast.
Yeah, and you see, he's going back to that same playbook. We as black people have to define why we're here. Well, the reason we're here is because you brought us here. The
Yeah.
word black and white wasn't even a word until 1600s. The Germans and the French and the Italians, they didn't call themselves white. So there was no white. That's a word that started around 1636, 1637. And
To
they
lump
started
all of
using
them in the
it
same group
between the slaves and us.
and
The
have a
slaves
stronger
and us.
group.
So there was no white. It was that Protestant, that Catholic, that Jewish guy, that Italian guy, you know. But now we have to identify who we are. So he's playing that same playbook. He didn't know she's been Indian, now she's black. I didn't know she was black. She turned black. Here's her birth certificate. I mean, it's the same damn
Imagine
playbook.
saying that in front of a black audience.
Yeah, and it's so juvenile and so stupid. You know why we're mixed up? You know why you came out with the 1%, the 3% rules? Because when Master was raping the black people, the black female slaves, if he had a male heir, the male heir, because women couldn't own land, the male heir had an opportunity to own the land that the master had once the master passed. So they changed it to the 3% rule. If you have any mulatto blood, you had that mulatto blood, then you can't own it, anything that the master had. And the master was steady screwing black women. And that's where that came from. So if Kamala, who was Jamaican, and Jamaica, for the audience to understand, to know, the only difference between us here and you, me, and Tommy is because the ship let us off here. Had they let us off in Brazil, we'd be Brazilian. Had they had not let us off, had they took us off in chains, we'd been Brazilian. We'd been Jamaican. Had they took us off in Jamaica, but
Then
they happened
Haitian.
to take us off in Portsmouth.
Mm-hmm.
So hey, I'm tired. Actually, because I'm tired of hearing the stuff he says. I would use the bad word to say the crap he spews,
Yeah,
because it's worthless.
it is. It is.
Yeah. Well,
And
they're in trouble, and they should be. You remember that little period after the debate, and they felt all comfortable because Biden did so bad, and you didn't even hear from Trump for a while because he felt like he could ride this out. After that debate, he said, "I got this,"
Yeah.
because they fighting each other. And then as soon as our vice president came in, then he had to like I said earlier, he doesn't know what to do now, because he got a different foe. He got a foe that's prepared, and all they can do is attack her. And now they're going into her sex life,
Yeah.
and
Not her sex life, her husband's sex life.
even going into the husband's sex life. And who has a crazier sex life than him?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, who has a moral ground to stand on? I mean, you had 3 wives and you screwed around on all 3 of them.
Yep.
Yeah, go through Congress and bring up everybody's sex life in there.
Sexual proclivities, and your name was on the flight log for Epstein.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
That's why, speaking of Epstein and them, and so that that the massage parlor that they had down there, that was actually a brothel down there. They and the FBI that investigated, destroyed the logs of who and the receipts and everything. He was in there. Because they already said that he frequented that place. Trying to get some while Melania was out of town or whatever.
Look,
So,
and we all have daughters, all 3 of us. This man gets on national TV and tells the world, with his daughter sitting right there, if she wasn't my daughter, I would probably date her.
Yeah.
That wouldn't even cross our damn mind.
We would be arrested, or we would have to register as sex offenders or something. I mean, yeah. I mean,
That's just nothing the father says. That's not
what dad would say that. Now, well, anyway, that was kind of sick, and they let those things like that ride.
I saw on the internet that he got incest with his daughter. I saw that an article on that, talking about fake news, but you never know with them.
Well, when you make a statement like that, I mean, some news like that comes across, you tend to believe it.
Yeah,
I mean,
it makes that came out of his mouth.
Yeah. I didn't make him say it.
Yeah.
And what I love about your channel is that you all will get up there and tell the truth, and you'll spit the facts out, and you'll show, as the young kids say, you'll show the receipts to what he's saying, and that's all you can do. I mean, there's nothing else. If people don't believe the truth and want to believe a lie, then I can't make you believe the truth, but it's not going to stop. It doesn't stop y'all from telling the truth.
Right.
Yeah.
Speak the word. Speak the truth to power.
Yeah. And I got on that. I became a member. I don't know if y'all became a member of that Roland Martin's I forget the
podcast.
Yeah, and I became a member of that, and I watched that. I stayed on it for 5 hours, and I was so happy to see all the black men that gave money and spoke, and they were so eloquent and so educated on this and Project 2025 and all the other crap we have gone through. And then I find out the other day that the white men had their own Zoom podcast.
Yeah. And then they had a dudes for hers.
Yeah.
Had a what?
White guy. Something like white dudes for hers, and then white men, and then they had white women.
Yeah.
I think the white women raised the most money.
Yeah, and the thing is, you and I and Thomas, we can talk all day, but until a white person validates what we say, people won't. There's a group of people that won't listen to it.
Yes.
But all a white person has to say is, those 3 guys, they know what they're saying.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, really? Well, okay. Because we can't be on our own. We have to have a leader.
And Tom, it's amazing that when they talk about Project 2025, to think about how long we've been talking about it on Boston Coffee Talk.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
we brought it up. Maybe about the beginning or a few months into the new year, we were talking about it then.
Yeah.
and some other issues we were talked about, and then I watched some of the national news. I said, man, we already
Yeah.
discussed that, but hopefully, the viewers that we have, we're not going to have the viewership of those big outlets, but the viewership we have, you know,
Well,
listens
if
to what we have to say. But to know that we've been talking about it for a long time, and it's good to know that it's being brought out and explained and talked about, by the national outlets now.
because 2025 definitely changes the United States all the way around.
Mhm.
It changes it. It takes away laws. It takes away rules. It takes away the social structure of the United States. And it was laughed at when it was first thought up. People saw it and laughed at it and said, this will never happen. But guess what? Here it is.
Here
And
it
that is
is.
why that is in what many of the Republicans that are voting for Trump don't understand is 2025 doesn't help you any more than it helps me. It screws all of us. That's the biggest point. If I could get one point across to the United States of America, that screws everybody, not just one group of people, everybody. So you can tell me about immigrants. I mean, you've been sitting here. It's 5:45 by my clock. I live behind enemy lines, like Thomas said, and ain't nobody come to this glass window that I'm looking at right now. I ain't been attacked by an illegal alien yet.
Mm-hmm.
I,
You know,
I, I've been,
I got a big field out there where an alien from outer space could live to land too, but that ain't happened either. So all this superfluous crap, we need to keep on. We need to keep on mark and keep on target, and filter out that bull that they're putting out there.
Yep. Yep.
I've been meaning to ask you, Johnny, are you in Representative Crockett's district?
No.
Jasmine, no, but I wish
Jasmine,
I was.
Down
No,
in Houston.
I'm not in
She
her
covers
district.
Houston, I guess. Yeah.
Houston.
Yeah, she covers a different city. But God, I love to see her because she when I watch her drill down on people and she lets them choke themselves, which is the easiest part. She just sits back and lets them say what they're going to say, and then she just says, "I'm going to ask this question now."
You think she'll eventually go for that Senate
Yeah,
seat?
I don't know. I don't know how it's going to work. I think what happens is Abbott, the gentleman in the wheelchair,
Yeah.
gets to appoint somebody, and there's like 6 or 7 people that want to be appointed and want that seat until November, and then I think they're going to try to do it. I don't know if they're going to make it. He's going to make the appointment before the election, or they'll let the election make the appointment. But there's 6 or 7, 8 people that want to run. The former mayor of Houston wants to run. He's one of the candidates that wants to run. One of the people that want to run for that seat. I hope somebody worthy gets it.
Yeah.
We've lost 2 good ones in Eddie Bernice Johnson and in the other young lady.
Yep. So we're going to continue to talk about this subject, and like I said, every day or every week brings something new to talk about. You can depend on Trump to come on and say something that's going to spark interest. And I say to him, keep on talking, because everything comes out your mouth is garbage, and pretty soon somebody's going to have to pick up that garbage, and hopefully it's people that's in your supporting you will pick that garbage up and throw it away.
Yes.
Anyway, before we go off, let's talk a little bit about the Olympics. How you guys enjoying the Olympics so far? It's been some exciting things. Just like every 4 years when the Olympics come up, it's always something, surprises. Some people step up to the plate. What has been the biggest surprise that you might have seen that you didn't expect so far?
I have enjoyed it thoroughly. It has been exciting and exciting and exciting. and you know, even some of the small countries have gotten out there and won medals. And so, yes, it is. It's been tight. It's been really nice. But let me go back before we talk about that.
Oh, good.
Yeah, before you talked about the senatorial seat in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody's got if Colin Alfred is running against Ted Cruz, and with a person that has not passed anything since he's been on. This is going on his third term, and so the Republicans will probably put him back back in his chair back there, and he'll do nothing for another 6 years other than spout a bunch of hot air and steal from the government, because he's he's also a crooked senator, because if you look at his net worth since he's been in there, it has blown up 10 to 20%, just blown up 200% times that, because he's buying land and doing a lot of stuff down there, getting ahead of the looking at the bills and what they're spending money down there, and doing a lot of illegal stuff. But your other senator down there is not leaving anytime soon, and I don't know where you were leading towards to have Abbott appoint somebody, because he'll never appoint
Crockett
or any Democrat to any seat or anything down there, because he doesn't believe in reaching across the aisle, and that's a seat of power, and so that will never happen. I just want to get that out there. Mm-hmm. So the only way you change over things is to vote those Republicans out in mass. And statewide office, if the people in Dallas and in Houston got out and voted in mass, you could make change. That's why you see Republicans have sort of taken over the election bureaus down there in Houston to slow and eliminating places to vote, and eliminating the time, and the drop-off boxes, and doing all those kind of shenanigans to slow down or decrease and to impede the numbers of people of color, especially people of color, in those two cities by themselves, especially in Houston. Because if people of color just got out in mass just in Houston and Dallas, you could change your statewide offices, and your two senators, and you get rid of the guy in the wheelchair as a governor, to send him on his way so he can go back to rehab. I rest my case.
Well, to even give you something else to think about, in Dallas, the mayor of Dallas was the keynote speaker at the Republican convention. The mayor of Dallas ran as a Democrat, and as soon as he got the votes from the majority, and Dallas is black. It's mostly black, because white flight occurred and everybody moved to the suburbs. So that's why you have all these suburbs around Dallas. But if you go to Dallas, main Dallas, it's mostly black. But he switched his party and he became a Republican. Now, I don't know how it's going to happen, how the next election is going to go, but I don't think he's going to last. I don't think he's going to be reelected.
I think people are going to remember that.
He was a keynote speaker. He's one of the 5 black or 6 black people you saw at the Republican convention.
Oh, Eric Johnson?
Yeah, Eric Johnson.
Yeah, Eric Johnson. Yeah. Y'all need to get rid of him, because he's turned
cold. We didn't vote. We did vote. Well, I didn't vote for him because I don't live in Dallas, but they voted for him. He was a Democrat.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Nobody knew he was going to turn. I mean, it's just like Christian Cinema and Joe Manchin. One day you walk it. I mean, you do your whole constituency an injustice because they voted for you under one idea, and you're something entirely different.
Yeah.
Like the guy that was Santos. Everybody thought he was one way, and hell, he didn't even know his own name.
Yeah.
You know, so it makes it hard to follow. And you're right that the money and politics, they go well here because our AG was up. Ken Paxton was on charges, and I watched the trial.
Yeah.
He should have been convicted,
Should have been convicted, but
but they didn't. They did the same thing they did with Trump. They didn't. Even the woman that was going to speak against him, they let her walk out and not even address the trial.
Mm-hmm.
And he was guilty. And Dan Patrick, the lieutenant governor, he's been guilty of a lot of stuff. And Abbott is in every lawsuit there is down here. He's talking about putting the border fence up, taking the barbed wire down, sending airplanes of. I mean, they send airplanes of these. Supposedly, they send. I mean, it's not supposed they do. They take illegal immigrants that they say they don't want in the country. They put them on an airplane and send them to a blue state. Nobody checks them. Nobody knows nothing about them. So your issue wasn't that the immigrant came to the country. It's just that you didn't want them in your state. Because that immigrant is still in the country. They're in New York or Chicago or San Francisco or LA, wherever but he, like you said, Thomas, 150, I forget, 130 or 40 people died 3 years ago during the cold freeze here because we couldn't get electricity. ERCOT, and Texas is the only state that isn't on the national grid.
Yep.
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on. Yep. It's interesting. Yep.
Look, cousins, I saw this before I came on tonight where the governor of North Carolina, Cooper, removed his name from consideration as vice president because he's afraid what his lieutenant
governor
lieutenant governor might do in his absence. Robinson, what he might do while he's campaigning out there, when he's away, because he already tried to do something when he went away for something that he had to do in his governorship capacity, and he tried to work some deal with Japan. The governor had gone to Japan, and the lieutenant governor tried to do a little something, a power grab, and he's afraid if he goes on the campaign trail, that guy, no telling what that guy will try to do.
Yeah, because the guy is crazy. The lieutenant governor down there is he's just crazy. And so I applaud him for taking his name out there because he is safeguarding the rights and responsibilities and taking responsibility for the people of North Carolina, because you cannot put somebody like that, Robinson, in power. And you just look at him and look at the speeches he's done and look how he talks and how he acts. You just cannot let him wield power.
Can't give him any kind of leeway when you're not there, because if you're not there, the subordinates have to listen to him, right?
Yep. Well, the problem is that he would do a lot of executive orders that would end up in the court, would be strung out forever. And if they get into the court system, because you got so many of these Trump judges out there that let this stuff go on, that you never know that he could change things through the court system.
Yeah.
And he's the one that was talking about people need to be killed.
Yes.
Yeah. And that is a theme that reverberates across America right now. It's like I've never heard any time that since I've been living that we ever thought if we lost an election, we need to go out and kill somebody or shoot somebody because we lost our candidate. And yet people like Mark Robinson and some of the church pastors and I mean, it's just it's almost unthinkable what these people are willing to say and what they're willing to do to get this man in office or get this plan put ahead. I can't say. And let me tell you, before I go, regarding the Olympics, I was happy, Thomas, when the young lady from St. Lucia
Yes.
won, because it was her first and only. It was her first medal ever, and she won a gold. And Sha'Carri Richardson is from Dallas.
Wasn't it the first for the country? Was it the first for the country?
Yeah, first for the country.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was happy about that. I found out I like rugby.
I watched some things. I watched some guys on tricycles or whatever they were racing.
Yeah, but I didn't know that back in the Greek days that they had skateboards going down and BMX bikes and stuff. Trampolines. But hey, you got to go with the times.
Is this the first time they had girls playing rugby?
I don't know, but I watched some of the games and they were very good.
They were fun.
Yeah, they were fun.
They were fun. I mean, I can see why they joke about American football because they'll take your head off in rugby.
Yeah, no pads, no nothing, just
Yeah.
Nope.
Body against body.
It's like we used to play at Aunt Sarah's house.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it.
Yep.
We didn't have no pads.
You my cousin, but I'm not let you score.
And you didn't.
Yeah.
I remember I played you in some basketball. You kept slinging my stuff across the street.
Yeah.
I had to go out the street and get it against the the garage where the goal was.
Oh, you won't gonna get nothing on my court.
Hey, but I know we're getting close to the 7 o'clock hour, but Slim, could you talk about, I see how people can support the podcast?
Oh, the Boston Coffee Talk?
Yeah, either way, yes.
Yeah, well, we really want you to support us. You can support us by we have a mailbox, post office box, 7664, Portsmouth, Virginia, 23707. Or you can, we have a Zelle, which you can email us, financial support I'm talking about, and that's portsmouthcoffeetalk@yahoo.com. And we also have a Cash App, and I hope I get this right. It's PCT 1220. PCT 1220, and that's a $sign in front of it if you want to support us. And when we come back in September, we're also working on possibly having a membership program, sort of like what Roland Martin has, where if you want to support us, you can become a member of Portsmouth Coffee Talk and maybe yearly or monthly give us membership dues, which will be very affordable. And we're just trying to make ways where we can support the broadcast and do a lot more things in the studio and outside of the studio. And so, yeah, if that's what you were talking about, Tommy, if you'd like to add to it, please do.
Yes, and also when you go on YouTube, like and subscribe. I know a lot of people out there like to watch and don't hit that other button, like and subscribe.
Yeah, and what I found out, I mean, subscribing really helps us, and we need those for the YouTube. But what's more important is the viewerships, and we're getting quite a few viewerships on our YouTube channel, even more than Facebook. So, but we still need those subscriptions so we can qualify for certain programs that YouTube offers as far as amount of, so we can make money off them. So anyway,
and it pushes your algorithm.
Yes.
Once it hits that algorithm, it pushes your information out to more people that are
Yeah.
that are
YouTube
like
will
you,
push your
that
information
want to
out.
learn about politics and stuff.
Right.
And also see coming across the line, Slim Nation one-on-one podcast, Dollar Bill Slim 685. Is that
Yeah. You'd like
another
to
way?
support me too. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And I'd like to make an announcement when we come back too. When we come back with Portsmouth Coffee Talk, the morning show will be featuring one and only Thomas the Colonel Chapman as the host and moderator of all the shows. And I'm sure Johnny, if we can get him up early enough, will come on, or even on the Thursday shows. But our morning shows, which we're pushing back to 7, and sometimes that makes a little difference. That half an hour might make a little difference for some people. Pushing it back to 7, and hopefully more people will say, "Yeah, I'll get up for that." But anyway, but it will be featuring our very own Colonel. He will be the host and moderator of the shows that we have, mostly concentrating on the morning shows on politics and different subjects related to current events and what's going on today. And our Thursday shows will be dedicated to human interest stories and things like that. So be ready for the comeback. We took a break for the summer to come back on Portsmouth Coffee Talk. And of course, I'll be here from time to time on the Slim Nation One-on-Ones podcast, just having those one-on-one conversations with people, trying to dig into them and see what makes them tick. Everybody had some influences as they were growing up that made them into the person they are today. So we talk about that a lot. I have a lot of local authors on here. So join me right now I have it scheduled every Tuesday and Thursday mornings at 8 a.m. And then we have the special shows like we have here today. But Portsmouth Coffee Talk is coming back, and we're coming back strong. We need your support. We need your viewership. And if you have some subjects that you might want us to talk about, feel free to let us know about that as well. But anyway, gentlemen, I thank you and cousins. We grew up together, and I'm the oldest. Looks like I'll be turning 70 next month. But like the old folks used to say, like I am one now, just live long enough. You'll be there too.
Yes. And Johnny,
Yeah.
stay safe down there behind Confederate lines.
Oh, you know I'm ready. So
Do we need to go rescue them? Remember the Alamo, right?
yeah, I remember. Y'all take care. Love y'all.
Take care. Love you too, man. Y'all appreciate, enjoy the rest of the Olympics.
Yes.
And Tom, I'll be looking for you in 2028.
Yep. I'm getting ready now.
In the pool, the backstroke. Just when you're doing the backstroke, you can't turn too soon or you get eliminated.
I know. I'm gonna be straight.
Okay. All right. Take care, guys. We'll see you.
It's time for us to sit down at the table and turn this chaos into something stable. For love, one-on-one, we will not accept defeat, not on our land, not in our streets. Getting it done, reaching out to save the youth, letting them know the truth. Slim Nation is where good conversations dwell. Positive affirmation